Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. And hopefully you guys have a great week. Because it's Monday again. I just wanted to come and talk, of course. So, hopefully you guys are doing great. I'm actually doing fantastic. Like, I have no complaints, to be honest. I just been doing me and doing what I have to do for myself. So, which we all are. But I'm so, like, sometimes I, like, think back to, like, my whole experience and my journey, especially in the beginning, you know. And it kind of, like, it's kind of scary. Not to me anymore, but like in the past it was scary, you know, especially in the beginning for me because I didn't know what was going on. And so it was it was like a horror slash thriller slash it's just a lot that happened. And so when I think back to it, it's so crazy because it seemed like I came so far, you know. And it's like now I'm not even scared of it, you know. When I look back to it, it's like I wouldn't have been scared back then if I knew I would have made it this far, you know. So, and it's the craziest part to me is whenever I was a child, like 7 or 8, you know, that's like when a lot of the extraterrestrial movies started coming out. I think Independence Day, of course, was one, and this is early 90s, right? Maybe towards the end of the 90s, maybe. But like, I was young, I remember. And all these extraterrestrial movies started coming out. So Independence Day was one, which was popular. And then a lot of other ones came out after that. So, or even before that. I remember Fire in the Sky, watching that when I was young. And these movies used to creep me out. And so Fire in the Sky was one. Independence Day kind of creeped me out. They came out with Men in Black later. But they had a lot of other, I think there's a lot of other like knockoff movies that we would like order from Blockbuster. But we used to watch them a lot when I was a child, and I remember that's when I first like started hearing anything regarding extraterrestrials. And I remember when I used to watch those movies, there were certain ones I would watch where certain people would get abducted and stuff, and like their ear would like buzz really loud or something, or they get extreme headaches randomly, or just random things that happen to them, like nosebleeds and all this stuff, right? And I would watch these movies, but they were like creep me out because the first thing that really creeped me out was, of course, like the nosebleeds and everything and what they actually saw. But the main thing that actually creeped me out when I was younger was like how they would have certain experiences and no one would actually believe them, right? So it's like weird to where they wouldn't have a lot of evidence, you know, because it was hard to capture the evidence. So like people would call them crazy and say they needed medication, or they were lying, you know. And so I think that was like the creepiest part to me when I was younger, you know, because I actually knew what was going on, but like to see how many people would deny these people with these stories creeped me out even more, right? And so it's so crazy because like I never really had experiences with extraterrestrials, like ever, like my whole life. I would always have nosebleeds though in the middle of the night, but like as far as like having encounters with them, I never had an encounter with an extraterrestrial until, and I don't even know, I think something happened to me in 2020. I think it was until 2020, to be honest. Yeah, I think until 2020 when I left and everything. you know. And then everybody started calling me crazy, like, because of my story and everything. Actually, no one wanted to listen to my story. Even my family, like, they don't want to hear it. But the craziest part to me is, like, they all had, like, their own experiences. You know, I would listen to their stories when they would have extraterrestrial encounters. And they're crazy, like, like, crazier than my story, you know. And so, like, they would always have encounters. And it would boggle my mind because back then, I never had the encounters, but I would just hear their stories, you know, and it would creep me out because they would have a lot of encounters, but I wasn't having any at all. And I could be in the same house and nothing would be happening to me at all. But then I'll wake up and hear their stories and I'll just be like, that's crazy. But I never thought they were crazy, you know. And so, like, a lot of them had this encounters and I didn't, like, the whole time until 2020. And so whenever I had my experience, you know, nobody believed me, of course, but it just reminded me of when I was a child, when I would watch those movies when, like, all this crazy stuff would be happening and, like, no one believes the person, you know, and they all call them crazy. It just felt like I was, like, living a movie, like, literally. Like a nightmare, because that was, like, my worst fear when I was younger after watching all those movies. And so I think, like, in 2020 though, like, my encounters weren't like, they weren't creepy like the ones I've heard, like, with the family. They had creepy freaking encounters, like, if not on a daily, like, monthly, you know. But, like, in 2020 I had, like, maybe one encounter, but it wasn't bad, it wasn't scary. They didn't even reveal themselves. Nothing happened, right? I just believe, like, if anything, they were kind of helping me in a way. Because it's weird, how did I never have any experiences with extraterrestrials, even though everybody around me was, and even in the same house they were, but I never experienced it until 2020. But in 2020 it was like, that's when I found out all my gifts. Like, I recognized that I had gifts, like, literally as soon as, like, I left my ex. Like, there's, like, weird stuff going on at work, and with him too, like, he started being weird, like, along with everybody else. And so, like, I had all this stuff going on at work at the same time, and so I didn't understand why everybody's acting weird. Like, it seemed like everybody just changed, like, for real. And so, like, when I left him, like, literally I packed my truck and got my twins and, like, literally left him and a lot of people behind, because my intuition, pretty much. And I felt like I was, like, in danger. And so, like, I left. And you know, this literally the same night that I left was the night that I found out I had gifts. And it's crazy. That night was freaking crazy. And, like, ever since that night, like, literally I've had these gifts. And if anything, I don't think, if I did have any encounters with extraterrestrials, I don't think they hurt me at all. I think, if anything, they were probably protecting me, because it's weird. Like, how did I not have any encounters until 2020? And, you know, in 2020, like, Corona came out, all this crazy stuff. And, like, when I left, that's, like, when it was crazy, at the craziest point, you know. But I had no choice but to leave. And, you know, I had to literally depend on myself and have faith in myself, you know. But I'm glad I did, because I would have never, you know, discovered my gifts and stuff. So I don't know, but when I got on the highway that day, that's when whenever, like, I seen all this stuff happening, like, in front of my eyes, like, and I think I told you guys about the pyramid and how I was dancing inside the pyramid, and like it's all ancient and stuff, but like I don't know. I've seen a lot of stuff, but I know I wasn't tripping because everything that the astrologist said that night, everything that they said that night is literally happening right now. If it hasn't happened yet, you know. I mean, it's so crazy because it seems like everything they said to me happened. It may have took some years because I was in 2020. It's 2024, almost 2025. So that was some time, you know. But everything they said was gonna happen happened, or it's happening now. It's crazy. So I know I'm not crazy. So like I know what I seen was real, you know. But that was the first time that I ever heard of like the new earth, was when they said that, you know. They're like, welcome to new earth. I was like, what? It's crazy, man. But you know, as far as the extraterrestrials, like I never had any encounters. But I think like the people that were doing stuff against me, they were actually having bad encounters with them. Like I remember one person I know, that was close to me actually, she would have encounters. I remember one time she had this encounter where she was at her house, I think, and like they came in her room and like she couldn't move again, and like all of a sudden they were just flashing like old stories in front of her eyes, like Old MacDonald had her farm, the Three Little Pigs, all that stuff, right? And they're just flashing like old lullabies and stuff in her face, like taking her back to her childhood. I don't know why. Like teaching her all these like childish things, you know, like riddles and stuff, right? It was weird. And so I was like, like after hearing those stories like over the years, you know, I was freaked out about extraterrestrials, you know, but it never happened to me the whole time. But it seemed like the people that were doing stuff to me, that's who it was happening to. So in the end, I think like, I don't know, maybe they're protecting me. You know, because I still don't have bad encounters like that. But it's kind of scary looking back though, because as a child, you know, because I was scared as a child because of movies and stuff, but it seemed like I actually had to live out a movie. That was kind of creepy, but I'm still alive. That's all that matters. And I can't believe how far I've made it. And like, I don't know, the truth is crazy. You know, but I don't know. But that's when I first found out I had gifts. I was like, what? When I left immediately. So I know I did the right thing by leaving, because that's when I found out I had gifts, and that's when I was able to do a lot, pretty much, and find my, like, be my true self, you know, and figure out my true identity and stuff. Yeah. And I would never have gotten this far if I didn't take that leap of faith in myself back then. And if I was codependent, yeah, I probably wouldn't have got this far. But since I was independent, even in my relationship, I was still independent, you know, I think I got really far. Really far. Alone, you know? Because I know, like, regardless, I'm going to be protected and I'm going to be okay. So, like, in the end of the day, because it's just that what I put out into the world, you know, whatever you put out, you get back, of course. So, I don't know. But no matter how much they call me crazy, you know, I know I wasn't too crazy because everything the astrologist said was true. And regarding the new earth, you know, and just experiences that I've actually had to go through the whole time, you know, and like, I don't know. And I know my gifts are amazing, so like, I can't deny that, you know. So I really don't care how crazy they say I am, because I know I'm not crazy. I don't think I would even like, would have discovered my gifts, to be honest, if I didn't leave, because that's when my gifts started coming into play. Like, I didn't even know I had these. Like, I knew something was different about me. Like, if I would touch the light switch or something, like, it'll shock me all the time or something. Or like light bulbs will just explode. Or when I go to the certain rooms, you know, the light would get brighter. Or like it'll start flickering. Stuff like that would happen. So I knew it was something. But I didn't really see it until I left. And it was like immediately when I walked away from him and moved out, you know, the same night. That's when I discovered my gifts. Because I remember I was pointing my finger and like, I was crying. I was a crybaby back then. So I was crying because I left, you know. I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I was on a couch and I was listening to my music and like my spiritual music. And I remember I pointed my hand and the air was dark. And like I just seen the spark as soon as I pointed my finger. But the spark was like across the room. And I was like, what the heck? And so I did it again and it happened again. And I was like, what? Are you serious? And then that's when I seen like all this, the whole room turned red. And like, but my friend, she lived on the 3rd floor in her apartment complex. And I was sleeping at her house that night because I just left his house, right? Because I was going to leave. And I was on her couch. And like all of a sudden, when that was happening with the sparks, when I would point my finger, that's when her window in her living room just turned red. Like everything turned, the whole room turned red, literally. And I was just like, why is it red? Like everything turned red. And my daughter was asleep on the other side of the couch. And so I was the only one awake. And I was just like, what the heck? And when everything turned red, I was freaking out on her couch. I was just laying there like, the heck is going on? And so then I seen these little balls, like these sparkly balls bouncing up and down in the corner of her window. And the red light in the corner of the windowsill, though, behind my daughter's head. And I was like, what the heck is that? It was like these little sparkly looking circular orb looking things bouncing up and down in the corner of the red hue. So I was like, what the heck is this? And so then I just sat there laying on the couch still like, what the heck? And then all of a sudden, like, she had 3 cats, by the way. And then like all of a sudden one of her cats started reaching for the light on the TV. You know, like when it was like the wallpaper on the TV, but it was like the Roku sign bouncing up and down on the TV, and it was white, right? So the cat was trying to grab the light, the words on the TV, and it stretched its back really long and was like clawing on the TV as this is all going on. So I was just like, what the heck is going on? And so then all this is going on, right? And so then her second cat jumps up behind me on the arm of the couch where my neck is, and it arched its back really high, and I could see the shadow like on the wall in front of me where the red light is. And so I seen this cat, her second cat, get behind my back and arch its back really hard, like crazy, really crazy, right? And then it arched its back, and then it started going really slow around my neck, crawling really slow around my neck. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so creepy. It felt so weird. but I could see the shadow like on the wall in front of me. So I never looked back. I could just see this going on. And I was like, why is her cat acting crazy too? So this is all happening, and then all of a sudden, like, she had these game controllers under her entertainment center for the kids. They were just playing their games and stuff earlier that night, but they were already inside the drawer, and the drawer was closed, everything. And then all of a sudden, like, the controllers start lighting up by themselves. So I think one controller was red and the other one was blue. And so, like, all of a sudden, I see the lights inside of the drawer light up. And I was just like, why is the drawer lighting up? And it was just like red and blue, red and blue. And I was like, that's the kid's controller. Like, why the heck are they going off at the same time? And so all this energy is going on, right? I'm just freaking out because, okay, the whole room's red. Her cats are acting crazy. I'm pointing my finger and there's sparks everywhere every time I point my finger. And then, like, this red light is everywhere. And all these, like, weird spheres are in the corner of the window bouncing up and down. And so then I was just like, this is weird. And I knew we were on the 3rd floor. So I was like, it can't be someone's brake lights. Because, like, even if it couldn't light up her whole living room like that, you know. And plus, we're on the 3rd floor. It's like the highest from the ground, you know, from the parking lot. So all this is going on. So I'm freaking out on her couch. I'm like, oh my God, what the heck is going on? And then I think what freaked me out to get up was her 3rd cat. So I had always had this coffee cup that I would always have with me. And so I had it on her table in the dining room. And then, like, all this is happening with the 2nd cat doing that around my neck. And then her 3rd cat, like, jumped on the table in the dining room and knocked over my coffee cup. And then you could just hear the water spilling on the ground. And so, like, that's when I jumped up. I was like, I can't do this. I fucking can't do this. So I jumped up and I turned on the light. And I just sat up all night. I think it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. I stayed up until daylight. And so when my daughter woke up, it was like 6 in the morning. I was looking at the sky because it was red. Like, there was like this red hue over the whole city. And so me and my daughter, she woke up and we recorded it on my phone. And it was like this red hue over the whole city, you know. And it just looked creepy, you know, because I'd never seen that before, especially in that city, you know. And then seeing that red light all night, you know. It was just weird seeing it over the city. And I never told her because, I don't know, I don't want her to think I was crazy. But I remember because she was like trying to tell me that she was debating on going on a cruise with her kids because she heard about this virus and how people are getting sick on the cruises and how she didn't want to risk her kids getting sick and how she wanted to go but she didn't know for sure if she's going to go. And I remember around that time I was telling her I was going to go to Cali because I had set up some appointments for the kids on spring break, you know, for this modeling agency or something. Because we would do that like every year. We'll take our kids somewhere. And so that was my plan for the kids. But I was getting out of there anyway. It's just something that we could do while we're out there, if that makes sense. And yeah, after that night, I think I left right after that. And that's when I got on the highway the next day and all this crazier stuff started happening. And I was just like, what the heck? And so that's when I had, like, the astrologist was telling me all this stuff and what was going to happen. And about the new earth and stuff. But, dude, it was crazy. But it just reminds me of those freaking movies when I was a child, you know. I just feel like, man, everything I was afraid of actually occurred in my life, if that makes sense. But it only made me stronger, you know, now I think about it. So I can't really complain too much about it, you know. And just keep pushing, you know. It's all good though. But anyway, I don't want to talk you guys' heads off too much today. I'll talk more later, but I think I'm good today. I think I talked too much today. So I'm gonna let you guys go, but hope you guys have a great Monday. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.